and they will discharge your taxes based on their law, not organic value of the gold and the silver. Congressman Louis McFadden's speech, which was the indictment of Secretary of Treasury and the Federal Reserve Board of Governors for treason by the chairman of the House Banking and Currency Committee in 1934, said in a scathing speech to Congress, he said, "The Fed has impoverished and ruined the people of the United States, has bankrupted itself, has partially bankrupted our government." That was in 1934. We didn't get rid of them. The most knowledgeable man on banking also explained in this vivid detail that he made that the method for recruiting the Federal Reserve to pay our debts is a holder of gold, and in which the heart of the body is today's tax remedy. In another case, Lewis versus United States 680, the Federal Reserve Bank is privately owned. And it said that they concluded the Federal Reserve banks were not federal instrumentalities for the purpose of Federal Tort Crimes and Claims Act, but are independent, privately owned, and locally controlled corporations. In other words, the Fed enjoys no United States immunity from lawsuit because it's not a federal organic institution. It is an institution by federal name, in name only, folks. So, guys, the Grace Commission, gosh, once upon a time, basically they confirmed virtually all taxes actually go to the Federal Reserve Bank to pay interest on U.S. debt to the banking families. Scratch out banking families, write Anunnaki, that own the International Monetary Fund. If you go into Washington, D.C., and you go to the State Department, right around the corner within walking distance is the IMF. A little bit further on foot, and I should say the IMF / World Bank. And then you walk a little bit further, you go down the street is the Federal Reserve. All this is right next door to the administration building. Where's that? What's that? It's where they really do the executive work, not in the White House. The White House is a scam, guys. Anyway, when this money goes into the banks or the Federal Reserve, with 2/3 of everyone's personal income taxes wasted, 100% of all that is collected is absorbed totally by interest on the federal debt and by the federal government in contributions to transfer payments. In other words, all federal income tax revenues really are spent on the Federal Reserve. Are you following where we're going here? Does it make sense to confound the common man and his common law that came from the land, which was driven by the heart? You know, a promissory note is defined as a monetary instrument. A monetary instrument is an instrument that's negotiable, allows you to write personal checks, business checks, cashier's checks, third-party checks. Oop, gosh, I don't think that exists anymore. Promissory notes and money orders that are either in the bearer form or endorsed. And by the way, you are supposed to be able to endorse these without restriction. So if I write Hans a check, Hans can endorse it. He can hand it over to his buddy, and it can go around in the circle and never be deposited, but just given as payment. Whoop. They stopped endorsements past one person. Of course, this is made out to a fictitious payee, or otherwise in such form that the title therefore passes, upon delivery. But a promissory note is defined as a negotiable instrument. An instrument. It is often what we call a certificate of deposit, not a real deposit. It's an acknowledgement of a bank receipt of money. So here's what we do. We take real effort. We put real energy into our labor, and we get paid a fictitious piece of paper in return. Nothing organic. Why? Because we've allowed laws to get passed that the Nephilim have made sure got passed that requires that the government, accepts only their fictitious crap for payment. You might be able to pay everybody else organically, but if your government is making you pay things required by their codes, then you are a slave. You can pay off your land, but you pay your taxes to them in notes, and you are forever unable to pay off your land because you're not really paying it off. They can prove it. You don't have land. You didn't pay us anything. You gave us a note. They'll turn the table on you. When you find out that you are not paying your land off, you can demand the total amount due on your land and ask for a allodial title to your property. And you can rightfully pay it off, and then forever they cannot demand tax on your property. Do you own your land? Do they deprive you of a means to work free? Are you enslaved? A lot of people go, oh yeah, I just want to run around all over the world and I don't want to be able to make an income because, I got to be paid and I don't really care. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you are enjoying the Nephilim system. Now, next point. I could go on and on and on about the codes, guys. For example, Section 802 Patriot Act defines the people as terrorists, defining terrorism as a maritime event and excluding private meetings on land from being defined as terrorist. And the term domestic terrorism means activities that A, involve acts that are dangerous to life and are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States, of any state, appear to be intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population or influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion, or affect the conduct of the government by mass destruction and assassination and kidnapping, and occur primarily within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States, not on the land, but if within a certain jurisdiction. Here is an attempt to peacefully resolve the grievances. That's what we're going to talk about next. Is the peaceful attempt to the resolution of grievances. If it is not successful, you fill in the blank. I made 10 predictions for this year. And I'm going to soon give you a website, a blog that has those predictions. I'll give it to you now. I can't find it. Let me get it to you later. I'll have Hans put it up. but it's going to be a link to a website